Every time Ripple makes a move, the crypto world pays attention. But with all the headlines, reposts, and hype, how do you know what's real and what's just recycled news? So I did the digging. I went through Ripple's own press release, checked multiple media outlets, scrolled through the X posts from Ripple's executives, and even looked at the regulatory side in Bahrain. Today, I'll show you exactly what I found, what's confirmed, what's still speculation, and why the partnership could matter more than you think. And trust me, the Bahrain angle is huge for XRP and for Ripple's stablecoin RLUSD. I am not a financial advisor. This video is based solely on my opinion on what I am personally doing in this market. I also want to let you know that some of the links below and in the descriptions are affiliate links, meaning I may get a commission, but it will be at no extra cost to you. Please remember that under no circumstances will I ever contact you and ask you for investments. You can confirm all of my real social media handles in the description and also at milkshakematty.com. This content is for educational and entertainment only, and I am not a financial advisor. So let's start with what everybody saw in the headlines. Ripple expands into Bahrain with new fintech partnership. Sounds big, but if you've been in crypto for any length of time, you know half of these stories are just the same press releases recycled 10 times. So here is exactly what I found. Ripple themselves put out an official press release on October 9th, 2025. This wasn't a rumor, this was straight from Ripple. In that release, they confirmed a strategic partnership with Bahrain FinTech Bay, which is basically Bahrain's major fintech incubator. They're the bridge between startups, regulators, and big institutions. And in that press release, Ripple laid out 3 big goals. The first one is to work on pilot projects in blockchain, cross-border payments, tokenization, stablecoins, and custody. They also want to get involved in education, accelerator programs, and local events. And the last one is interesting. This is their words, not mine. They said this: ultimately, offer our digital assets custody solution and stablecoin Ripple USD, RLUSD, to Bahrain financial institutions. When they use the word ultimately, it's important because it means this isn't live today. This is on their roadmap. Now, after Ripple reposted that, the news has spread everywhere. You can't move for this today. CoinGate wrote it up. Coin Edition, Coin Central, Zawa, and a whole list of crypto outlets all pushed the same story. Even TradingView News had it live today. But here's the key. All of those were basically the same press release reworded. None of them had any extra information. And I want to be clear with you guys. When I say I researched this, I mean I went looking for who had new information. And the truth is, there wasn't much. Everyone was repeating Ripple's script. So, the only truly new angle came from an executive tweet. That executive was Reese Merrick, Ripple's managing director for the Middle East and Africa. He went on X and said this: big news. Ripple is expanding into the Kingdom of Bahrain. Through our new partnership with FinTech Bay, we support pilot projects across Bahrain's digital asset ecosystem. Now, that's significant because it means Ripple's regional head is putting his name behind this, not just a PR department release. So, we have Ripple officially saying it and Ripple's executive confirming it publicly. That part is solid and verified. Then I wanted to know why. Why Bahrain? Why not Saudi? Why not Qatar? And here's what I found. Bahrain has actually positioned itself as a crypto-friendly financial hub in the Gulf. And more importantly, there's a Shariah compliance piece to this story. XRP, according to multiple reports, has been reviewed by the Shariah Review Bureau in Bahrain. That's an advisory firm that works under the Central Bank of Bahrain regulatory framework. They've said that XRP can be considered Shariah compliant, and that matters because in Islamic finance, being Shariah compliant means institutions can actually touch it. Now, I didn't find a direct Central Bank of Bahrain press release saying we approve XRP. That doesn't exist, at least not publicly today. But the SRB's involvement is credible. They're recognized under the central bank framework. And when you put that together with Ripple's partnership with FinTech Bay, you can see the strategy. Ripple is embedding itself right into the Bahraini financial system in a way that ticks all the boxes: innovation, regulation, and compliance. Let me break this down for you the way that I like to see it when I'm researching. The things that are confirmed is partnerships with Bahrain FinTech Bay. This is the official press release from Ripple. And we've also had now executive confirmation. Then we've got the goals to run the pilots in the blockchain, the payments, the tokenization, and the custody. and that Ripple intends to bring RLUSD and custody services to Bahrain eventually. Ripple is active in the Gulf and they've already got licensed in Dubai earlier this year. Now let's look at what's speculative. RLUSD is not live in Bahrain today. That's future tense, not presence. And there's been no official Central Bank of Bahrain approval yet. There's also no list of which banks or financial institutions are actually on board. And the timeline is unclear and could be months or even longer. So when you see the hype headline saying Ripple brings RLUSD to Bahrain, that's not true yet. What's true is that Ripple is setting up the ecosystem to make that possible. Now here's why it matters for XRP holders, for Ripple as a company, and even the crypto market as a whole. If Ripple can get Bahrain on board, it can spread across Saudi, to the UAE and beyond. Ripple isn't just a payments company anymore. With RLUSD and custody, they're building the infrastructure for banks to actually hold and move digital assets. That is massive. By partnering with an incubator tied to the government and regulators, Ripple avoids friction. They're not barging in, they're building from within the ecosystem. This puts Ripple up against Swift GPI, Stellar, CBDCs, and even local Gulf blockchain projects. If Ripple plays it right, they become the default rails for institutional crypto in the Middle East. But, and you know how I like to show both sides, there are risks. Just because Bahrain is open today doesn't mean the rules can't change tomorrow. Announcing a pilot is easy. Getting real institutions to use your tech at scale is much harder. Local players might even prefer homegrown solutions. Swift still has its influence, and Stellar has been making moves as well. Investors sometimes price in future adoption before it's real, and that creates risk if the rollout is slower than expected. And now I want to bring you behind the scenes out of my research process. I started with the TradingView news link that everybody has seen. Then I tracked it back to Ripple's official press release. That's where the real info was. I checked multiple media outlets, including CoinGate, CoinEdition, Zawa, to see if any of them had something Ripple didn't say. And spoiler alert, they didn't. None of them, not one of them. I've checked executive statements on X, found Reese Merritt's confirmation. Then I went to the regulator side. The Central Bank of Bahrain's site, I didn't find fresh announcements, but I did find reports linking XRP to the Shariah Review Bureau compliance work. Finally, I compared what's confirmed versus what's just Ripple's future plans. And that's my full trail. I'm showing you this because in crypto, 90% of the headlines are just recycled. If you don't dig, you end up believing speculation as fact. And I don't want you making decisions on half-truths. So what do we know? Ripple is expanding into Bahrain. That is official. They're working with the country's fintech hub. They plan to bring RLUSD and custody services, but that's future tense. There is no regulator stamp yet, no banks named, but the strategy is clear. Ripple wants to be the backbone of digital assets inside the Middle East. And if they put it off, it's huge for XRP and for crypto adoption. But if they stumble, it's just another lesson in why we separate facts from hype. And that is why I research like this and share the journey with you. Now, if you found this breakdown useful, let me know in the comments exactly what you're thinking. Do you think this is a hugely positive news for XRP, or is it more fluff and it doesn't really matter? And remember, if you want to join the Wolfpack, you can go and click the link in the description below. In there, we share daily trade signals, we have market updates, and the tools that keep you ahead of the game. And if you're looking at leverage trading, remember that I use Bitchenix because KYC is optional. You can grab up to $10,000 in new sign-up bonuses, and you can join with just an email. I'll leave my affiliate link in the description below. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Now remember, nearly 60% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. You're going to be the first to know every single time I put a video out just like this. And as always, make sure that you stay safe, you trade smart, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. Remember, the strength of the wolf is in the pack.